This week, the International Maritime Organization is in session for an extraordinary meeting known as an extraordinary session of the Marine Environment Protection Committee. The main agenda item is the adoption of the IMO's net zero framework, which is a series of financial and technical measures to encourage the uptake of zero and near zero carbon emission fuels. And it's been a really politically charged meeting with two camps. But to help me at this meeting and to help represent the members of the Nautical Institute in the heart of the IMO, I have Stylianos Mourtzanos. Thank you very much for joining us for this week, and thanks for joining me today. Tell me a bit about yourself.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. I started my career as a seafarer, traveled with an oil tanker company for the start of my cadetship until I eventually came ashore. That was almost 7 years. And now I'm a superintendent under a ship-owning company, managing oil tankers and bulk carriers.
What were your first impressions of the IMO?
You know, when I was sailing, we used to receive the final draft, the final document, on the regulation. And we just compromised with it without having a say. Right now, being inside the building, I can see how the document is actually drafted, how it evolves in order to get adapted. And all the diplomacy, the political place, and the intersection between the members, the governments in the IMO and the NGOs, and how they communicate with each other. So standing outside of it is a magnificent experience, and I really hope that many seafarers will join this mission, come here, get inside the building, see actually from themselves how everything is evolving.
So what are the kind of things that have been different from your key expectations?
The main difference was that you can see the draft text evolving into the final regulation, and the way that each delegation adds to it in order to be a complete and ready to be used document.
Do you think the dynamics of the room, how have those come across to you?
Since it's been a completely different week, I believe, from the rest of the weeks in IMO, due to the necessity, if you like, and the magnitude of the decision to be made, politics and diplomacy are the main reason that will, at the end, probably make the final decision.
It's certainly been a very interesting, politically charged meeting. Has that surprised you, just the degree of politics?
Actually, from the previous meeting of MEPC, it had the political taste in it. And okay, it's not that technical, but on behalf of the Institute, I believe we're trying our best in order to fit the seafarers and to represent their rights inside this box.
And in terms of influence, you've seen us working with some of the other NGOs and principally with the flag states. And thank you for some of the discussions that you've had. Do you feel that those little conversations are making a difference?
Of course, they're making a huge difference, since even if we manage someone to hear us on a very specific matter that we want to discuss with the industry, that we want to utilize in order to protect the seafarers, even the smallest member state can make the difference through adoption on an agenda, through making a proposal, including the small talks we're having in the corridors.
And do you think that that process is helping seafarers? Is that seafarer voice being heard in the room?
At the end of the day, it might not be the actual thing that a seafarer would say, but when it's come into adoption and actually used on board, I believe it's the best seafarer, the best outcome for the seafarer.
That's really pleasing for me to hear, because our job is representing seafarers. And if I may, I'm very grateful for some of the conversations you've been having and the advice you've fed back to me. What are your highlights from this week?
The diplomatic play and the tents that everyone, working and have to regulate afterwards as an administration. The whole building is in fire.
It's certainly been one of the most politically charged meetings I think I've ever seen.
Yes.
At the IMO, and that's made it a very special meeting for everybody, very difficult at times for us. Do you think the Nautical Institute has carefully played our role? You're, as a member, do you think we've got that right?
No, the best way in a dangerous world around us. In this case, we have positioned ourselves extremely carefully, and in my view, it was the best way possible that we could have been positioned.
Well, thank you for that. We have a lovely committee that helped me generate those positions, and thank you for being part of those consultations. So, in terms of preparing yourself, just talk through your background and your career history and how that's helped you prepare for this.
My training as a seafarer and the training that I have received when I got ashore, part the curiosity that it's necessary to have in order to get affected on the IMO committees. I believe it's essential, how to say, it's an essential recipe for someone to actually make a difference.
No, it's great, because having that background, particularly not just as a seagoer, but of course in the fossil fuels, effectively through tankers, has been quite enlightening for me, because of course that's where the whole conversation lies. Keeping going professionally, is this going to help you do your job, do you think, in the future?
It will mostly do, because I get a better view on the whole process. I can see why some lines were written and what it means to its delegation. So I can possibly and hopefully get a better, as a individual, have a better understanding and on how I will apply those also to the company that I work for.
And do you think there's more that the Institute could do to get that message out to seafarers, why those little nuances are in there?
Actually, the Institute, I believe, is already doing it through providing the expert delegate, sim that I also participate, and is the reason that I'm here. What we could do as an institute is actually keep the seafarers active.
Yes.
Keep informing them, telling them what's going on, and in this way, I believe many more would come.
Have you met many seafarers at the IMO?
Let's say 5% out of the 194 people that are inside the room.
Did that surprise you, at the lack of seafarers?
To tell you the truth, it did. Because when on board the vessels, the regulations that were forced to follow many times didn't come actually to the operational side. They couldn't be adopted, and I believe that having the active involvement of seafarers, that one could change.
That's why it's so great, us pairing up for this week.
Yes.
As a pair of seafarers, which is great. So when you look back on this week and you look over your shoulder in a few months' time, what do you think is going to be your key memory?
My key memory would be all the interventions made by certain nations. And to tell you the truth, the whole memory is like a diplomacy masterclass. This is my whole memory. The whole meeting is a diplomacy masterclass so far.
Thank you for being the perfect diplomat for that one. And ultimately, thank you so much for being with us this week. It's been amazing having you in the room. I valued your very sage advice and your ability to influence people in the room to think of seafarers. That's really important. So
thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.